you're trying to decide whether or not you should move to Warner Robins, Georgia. Well, today I'm going to show you the pros and the cons of moving to our city. Well, the first pro of living in Warner Robins really comes down to the housing market, because the average home here in our local market is $194,000. But wait, it's not just $194,000. If we look back 12 calendar months, the appreciation here in the local area has gone up 7.8%. Also, the average home sells in just 6 days. And you know what? That might not seem like a big deal to you, but however, when we compare this to the national average of a home being over $349,700, and the average appreciation in the entire United States has only gone up 0.4% in the last 12 months, on top of the average home selling in 12 days, our market is absolutely insane here in Warner Robins. Not only can you get amazing affordable housing, we have crazy amounts of appreciation and homes sell extremely quickly. Now, if you're buying, that could be a con in some ways because you'll have to make a fast decision when it comes to a house that you want to buy. But the pro comes in with the potential appreciation that you have buying in a market that's so hot. You could immediately make equity on your property within the first couple of years when you move here. Pro number 2 has to be the location. I know you're thinking, Luke, it's right in the middle of Georgia. What is in the middle of Georgia, right? Check out the YouTube channel for everything you need to know about the local area with amenities and all that kind of stuff. I already have those videos. But real quick with the location, I want to show you the different travel times to local cities, beaches, mountains, and everything in between. So the obvious and the first on the list is going to be Macon. It's a 20-minute drive north, and there's different things that you can do over here in Macon. Some of my favorites have to be the Cherry Blossom Festival that happens once a year. They have awesome dog parks. Mercer University is within the local area. And on top of that, the restaurants. There are so many delicious restaurants up in Macon. A few of my personal insider favorites would have to be Meddy's Mediterranean. You have to look them up. It's a husband and wife that's from the Mediterranean that brought their local cuisine here, and they run their restaurant. It is super, super delicious. And also for fine dining, you got to check out Natalia's. You're going to spend over $200 on a dinner. It's something that the wife and I do maybe once or twice a year, but it is so delicious. I love the restaurants in Macon. The next obvious is going to be Atlanta, Georgia. But before I talk about that, if you don't know Warner Robins in our area, on the western part of our city, we have what's called I-75, Interstate 75, that runs right through. You can take it north through Atlanta and go all the way up through Ohio, or you can take it south all the way through Florida. So if you are into traveling north or south, there's so many fun attractions when you go up north to be able to do a road trip or to be able to go south to the beaches. And I kind of want to put that into perspective, because to hop on the interstate to either go to Macon or up to Atlanta, Atlanta is only 100 miles away. And with Atlanta being so close on the interstate, you can have nightlife there. You can go ahead and have the Atlanta Braves games. There's basketball, football up there. There's so many different concerts, different outings, and so much entertainment in Atlanta. You're really not that far away from a metropolitan area that has all of those amenities. Next, Savannah, Georgia. You bank east of the coast for 180 miles, and you're going to be at the historic district here in Georgia. Picture perfect, serene environments mixed with beaches. You really can't beat it. In talking about beaches in Georgia, let's talk about Tybee, for example. You're somewhere between 180 off the top of my head, 180 to 200 miles away from that beach. And it's gonna take you somewhere between 3.5 to 4 hours. Savannah at 180 miles takes about 3 full hours to get there from Warner Robins. So for the beaches, you can be somewhere between 3 to 4 hours from local beaches on the East Coast. But sometimes you say, Luke, I don't like Atlantic water. You know, it's dark, you can't see through it. Guess what? Panama Beach, you're only 210 miles north, so you travel 210 miles south to be able to get to the beach, and you're really only looking at about a 4 to 4.5 hour drive. But with Florida being that close, Panama City Beach, my personal favorite, Clearwater, you just have to keep going down south for a little while. It takes about 5.5 hours to be able to get there. Beautiful area. But hey, then you say, Luke, I don't like the beach and I want to go to the mountains. Well, guess what? The Great Smoky Mountains National Park, you're only 250 miles away, so you're looking at about a 4.5, 5-hour drive to be able to get into the deep of our country's national parks. But say, hey, you want to get out of Georgia for a quick trip, 190 mile to 210 mile range, you can either go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, or you can go to Charleston, South Carolina. Still about a 4.5 hour drive away to be able to take you and your family to somewhere fun. But hey, real quick, insider secret. My favorite place to travel in the entire state is it's a 2-1. It's a double play, okay? Number one, you're gonna go to Talking Rock. It's 170 miles north of Warner Robins, and there's Biggins, okay? It is the best barbecue I have ever tasted on my taste buds. It is so delicious, okay? The wife and I love traveling up through there. We'll stop there, we'll get lunch, pig out on some barbecue, get the sweet tea. It is to die for. And then you hop on and go north for another 30 minutes and you're in Blue Ridge. Blue Ridge is by far my favorite place in the entire state. I really wish I lived there, to be honest. One day I might, and then I wouldn't be making great YouTube videos for you guys to decide whether or not Middle Georgia is the right place to be. That's a whole nother topic, okay? But 30 more minutes north, go to Blue Ridge Mountains, book a room one time, get a cabin. It is such an amazing experience. Be able to wake up in the mountains and see that view on like a 4-day weekend vacation. You absolutely have to go. Number 3 has to be the economic strength here in the local area. I'm gonna talk about some jobs here real quick. So if you're looking to move here and you're looking for certain employers, make sure you get a pen and paper real quick because I'm gonna go over a few. But before I go over a few, let me break this down. Warner Robins, 10th largest city here in the state. But it's not just the 10th largest city. Robins Air Force Base is the largest industrial complex in the entire state of Georgia. There's over 24,500 active employees on Robins Air Force Base, and Robins Air Force Base alone, they employ over 30% of the city of Warner Robins. So if you haven't checked out my other YouTube videos, Warner Robins is a hub of the military. There's so many people that are employed by the military base because the base, $3.15 billion they brought in of economic value to our local area in 2022. And like I said, there's about 24,500 employees. If you're looking for a job real quick, Indeed.com, you can look for a contracting job or go to usajobs.gov to be able to look for a GS position, which is government scale, amazing healthcare benefits. And there are so many people that have job applications out, like the employers on Robins Air Force Base, looking for great employees that want to make a good paycheck. And then to put it into perspective, I'm gonna name off the top 10 employers here in Warner Robins, and I'm gonna give you some numbers. Number 1 is Robins Air Force Base with 24,500 employees. Next is the Houston County Board of Education at 5,500 employees. Next is Purdue Farms, 2,500 employees. Then Houston Healthcare. Real quick, it's Houston in Middle Georgia. A lot of people say Houston, but there's awesome billboards. I think it's super funny. There's this bank when you're traveling through Perry, just south of Warner Robins, that says if it's pronounced Houston and not Houston, you may be in Middle Georgia. But to get back to it, Houston Healthcare, 2,475 current employees. Bluebird Company, 1,600. Frito-Lay, giant factory over there next to Purdue, 1,500 employees. Houston County Government has almost 800 employees. The City of Warner Robins, 650 employees. Fort Valley State University, we have 617 employees, and then the Kroger Company, 585. And pro number 4 has to be the education system. And I want to brag on the education system here real quick. So I'm not going to just go over the schools in Warner Robins. I'm going to do Houston County as a whole, just to be able to give you a perspective. Because if you're moving to Warner Robins, you think you want to move to Warner Robins, you need to understand Houston County is an amazing place to live. We have Warner Robins, we have Centerville, we have Bonnier, we have Kathleen, and we have Perry. So if you're looking to move to Warner Robins, you might actually want to expand your search criteria and to be able to look at those cities. If you want more insider information on that, go to the description, book a call with me, and I'll be able to tell you the different areas that you could move to here within the county that might be better for your family than just Warner Robins. But we have a total of 39 schools encompassing over 30,000 students in Houston County, and it's a 14-to-1 ratio. So for every 14 students, there's 1 teacher. Now, if you compare that to the national average, that is amazing. I remember growing up in public school up in Ohio, we usually have anywhere from 25 to 30 students per teacher. So that being cut in half, the care that your students get is unparalleled. And just to brag on it, when it comes to graduation rates here in Houston County, average, you're seeing it 90% compared to Georgia's average of 84%. So a 6% bump in graduation rates compared to the entire state. I have an argument that Houston County is an amazing place to be able to raise your kids when it comes to school systems. And also, I'm gonna link here below a couple of different ways you can get the ratings on specific schools. So if schools are really important to you, go to niche.com or us.news.com to be able to do some due diligence and do some research on what's best for your child. I'm gonna link that in the description personally for you. And you know what? Instead of there being 4 pros, I have to put in 5 because the recreation and the parks that are in this area are absolutely amazing. Right now, I'm fully addicted to pickleball. Ted Wright Park, we have 12 pickleball courts. They're actually upgrading it as we speak to 24. And there's so many recreational areas. There's so many different sports, different things you can sign up for your children. Instead of diving super deep into it, I'm just gonna link a website. I'll link the website to Warner Robins Recreation below, and you can do your research on it yourself because I could talk about it for 45 minutes to an hour. There's so many activities when it comes to recreation in Warner Robins, not only for kids, but for adults. Let's dive into the cons. And number 1 has to be nightlife, okay? This is how big of a joke the nightlife is in Warner Robins. When you go to yelp.com, go and type in nightlife, the first thing to pop up was Chili's, okay? I don't know about you, but if you're looking for nightlife, Warner Robins is probably not gonna be the place. Really, there are a couple bars, and the only one that I can think of off the top of my head would be Gracie's Rooftop Bar. It's right next to Rigby's, owned by Rigby himself. Not a bad place to go. You know, I don't really go out and drink at different bars, but there really aren't that many here in Warner Robins. I know down in Perry, they're building a few that are supposed to be really nice in the downtown area that you can walk to. I know there are a few bars up in Macon downtown. Drink responsibly. Make sure you don't drive after. Pro tip. There you go. Don't get yourself in jail. Save everybody. Save the kids. Save the wildlife. Save everybody that you'd hit if you drunk and drive. But when it really comes down to it, the nightlife here, there really isn't. Con number 2 has to be the traffic. Now, it's not like a major city. Me personally, I don't go to Atlanta. I don't like driving to Atlanta. I'll drive around Atlanta. That's how much I hate traffic. But as any city, as it grows the population, traffic does become a thing. So Watson Boulevard, during hours that people are off or maybe on the weekends, can sometimes get a little bit of a pileup. South House and Lake Road, traveling south towards 96, Highway 96, can get some traffic between the hours of 4 to 6 p.m. when most people are getting off of work. Because like I was saying before, if you're moving to Warner Robins, a lot of people work on the Air Force Base, but they live in cities like Bon Air, Perry, and Kathleen. Just some beautiful homes over there, amazing school systems and stuff like that. It can be a bit of a pileup, but the huge pileup has to be Buc-ee's on a holiday weekend. They have like 252 gas pumps, and it's the central hub when you're traveling north to south or south to north on I-75. It's really the only major gas station for quite a while. Every single person stops there. So if you live in Warner Robins and you just happen to go to Buc-ee's on a holiday weekend, good luck. Con number 3 has to be the perception of diversity. A lot of people, and I don't know why, they talk about diversity all the time with one population being bigger than the other or one population taking over the other. I literally printed out the stats from the last census here in 2020, a government website census, and these were the statistics. It's 48% white, 40% black, 4% Asian, and 7% Hispanic. So when it comes down to it, there is a pretty good amount of diversity over here in the local area. Now, when it comes to Asians and Hispanics, I mean, yeah, sure, it's on the lower end, but I've never had an ounce of racism happen over here in the Middle Georgia area. I don't know if it's just because it's the South and people actually respect each other like we should, because at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but I can't remember when, like before I was born, like checking a box of what skin color I wanted to be. And I love living in the area because that doesn't seem to be an issue. Now you can probably turn anything into an issue that you want to turn into an issue, but from an insider that lives here, it hasn't been an issue at all. And con number 4 has to be the housing market. I know pro number 1 was the housing market, but guess what? Con number 4 is the housing market as well. Because with interest rates being higher, we're closing in at the end of the year. Not a whole lot of people are buying because they don't want to move kids out of school systems and all that good stuff. There's not a whole lot of homes for sale in Warner Robins. And it can be a huge con to a lot of people, unless you know the right real estate agent that's going to fight and work hard for you. I just checked this morning, there's currently 34,148 off-market properties that specifically are for investments. I was doing a little bit of investor research this morning, and that's why I want to put this in the video. Yes, those are properties somewhere between the range of, let's say, $110,000 and $240,000 that could be net cash flow positive if you buy them, renovate them, and list them for rentals. But at the same time, if you're moving to Warner Robins and you want to get a feel for the local area, why wouldn't you buy a property that you could live in for 2 years, depending on the loan type, and then rent out, get cash flow, upgrade, and get a home that you absolutely love? I don't know about you, but cash flow from a rental property plus your normal job, that sounds like a great idea for me. And that is a service that I can provide you as a real estate agent here in Middle Georgia, but not just as a real estate agent. My team and I have a dedicated plan on how we reach out to these off-market properties to get the investors that work with me amazing deals each and every day. So if that's something that you would like, again, book a call with me down in the description. I'd love to be able to have a conversation with you about it and get you an amazing deal on an off-market property. Now, I know I stated this as a con. So let's say we're just looking at the houses on the MLS. You just want to buy, Luke. I don't want to go through all of that stuff. I'm going to have to get you set up on a search website to make sure that we absolutely have the data that we need with the time frame that we can possibly get this done, okay? And what I mean by that is it's 6 days average on market here in Warner Robins. So from the time it goes on market, we have 6 days typically to be able to get in the house, make an offer, and get it accepted. So I think that can be a con with time frames. And hey, those are the pros and cons of living in Warner Robins. If you're trying to move here, please go to the description and book a call with me. I'd love to be able to talk to you about the local housing market and do a one-on-one consultation with you to see what it looks like to move here and how we can get a killer deal for you.